The biggest real estate scandal in Canada, a shocking takeover. If you guys don't recognize me, my name's Alex. I run an AI agency in Toronto. You're probably thinking, why is this AI guy talking about real estate? Well, that's because it's all tied into our beautiful Canadian economy, guys. And AI is seemingly pervading the entire thing. So we like to cover the contentious topics here because AI is super contentious. Another contentious topic is real estate in Canada. And whenever we talk about real estate, I always like to use my good friend and fellow content creator on YouTube, Daniel Foch. Apologies for pronouncing your name incorrectly before there, Daniel. But Daniel has a great channel because he digs into the facts. And we're all about facts here. We've been getting a lot of engagement, a lot more engagement, a lot more followers, a lot more dislikes and mean comments from you guys for talking about this stuff. But we still get more followers, so I know my efforts here are not in vain. I will continue to share these videos and this data, these articles with you guys, regardless of how you feel. You don't like it, just hit dislike, leave a comment. We really appreciate all of the engagement. So let's get into it. Let's see what would have been the crowning industry of Canada look like now with all of these scandals coming, to into the light. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this is not the end. This looks to be the beginning. Let's get into it.
Ontario just did something I never thought I'd see in my career. The provincial government has taken over the real estate regulator. It is no longer a review. This is a full takeover happening. An outside administrator is being appointed to assume all powers of the RECO board, officers, everything. And it all goes back to the iPro scandal, the biggest trust account failure in modern Canadian real estate. We're talking about $8 million in missing trust funds, thousands of consumers and agents blindsided, a regulator that failed to act for months, and now the government publicly, we've lost confidence, decisive action is required. This is the most important governance story in Canadian real estate in a decade. The Ontario real estate industry is a massive portion of all of the real estate professionals in Canada, and the Toronto Real Estate Board is the largest real estate board in the world.
So, guys, just to give you an idea on context, because if you're a real estate person, you know exactly what you're talking. If you're not a real estate person and you're trying to, like, what the hell is RECO? What's a real estate board? So, Ontario, we have a significantly profound real estate environment. So much where we have a real estate board, we have a real estate council of Ontario. That's RECO, and this council is made up of non-government actors, generally just real estate people who have the best interests of consumers in mind to safeguard them from any sort of malpractice in the industry. That has failed, guys. The Real Estate Council of Ontario has seemingly failed to the degree where the government has to take the reins away from them, take the steering wheel away from them, because they're not doing a good job. They're not doing a good job to the degree where $8 million has seemingly disappeared from accounts that belong to investors, real estate agents, paying for things that it shouldn't be paying for. Now, if you were to go to Google and Google RECO Canada, you're going to get a good sense of what I'm talking about here. They've got like a 2.0 rating. So, whether when it comes down to protecting consumers or just having the best interest in mind for consumers in Canada when it comes to real estate, they're not doing a very good job. And Daniel's going to show that or demonstrate why the government's having to step in. And this, you're probably still thinking like, hey, this is not AI. What the hell is this guy talking about? Real estate and manufacturing are the two largest industries in this country. And without them, we do not have an economy. And the reason why I like to talk about that is because we don't have a resilient enough economy to let those industries fail, but they are literally guaranteeing to fail right now because of how far we've overextended. My position is we need to start working with technology. We need to start doing things more efficiently, increasing productivity, GDP, all that stuff. Generally comes through tech. So I like to show off the real estate stuff that's happening in Canada to show you guys like, hey, you can't put all your eggs in one basket or you literally crash the economy. And if you think, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, he's not a real estate guy. I'm not a real estate guy. I don't know a lot about real estate. So I rely on Daniel. And Daniel, the more I do your videos, the more I like you, but he has a platform, a digital platform to help people in the real estate market with AI. So to me, I'm like, this guy is literally the gateway to the future for real estate through a technological lens. So I really like covering his videos, very well thought out, very well researched. And I really do hope that, obviously he's going to be a little bit more technical with his words. If I can give you sort of a background understanding of what he's talking about through my knowledge as not having so much in a real estate background, then you can relate somehow and see, hey, maybe putting all my eggs into one basket or all my entire life savings into a home is not the best idea in Canada now. Maybe I should look into investing in some U.S. stocks that are technology, or maybe I should look into starting a business with tech, small business to help people with their technology. Who knows? I don't know. I'm trying to just spread the word and share this narrative because I think it's really important Canadians understand. Like, we're up shit's creek with no paddles, guys.
And if you buy, sell, lease, invest, or work in the industry, this could affect you. So let's break down what actually happened, why Ontario stepped in, and what it means for the future of trust accounts, brokerages, and consumer protection. On May 19th, RECO confirmed that iPro Realty, a major Ontario brokerage, allegedly used about $8 million from its trust accounts for things like operating expenses and investor payments. These funds were supposed to be protected: deposits, commissions, and money held in trust that belonged to the purchasers and sellers and realtors at that brokerage. Despite discovering this in May, the regulator didn't shut down the brokerage or freeze assets until August. That's almost 3 months where more consumers, agents, and deals were exposed. Denton's was hired to audit what happened, and the report was devastating. The Denton's audit found that RECO's former registrar deviated from its normal approach to trust fund misappropriation. That's bureaucratic language for this case wasn't handled the way that others have been. More importantly, the RECO board, the people responsible for oversight, were not told about the iPro issue until after a deal had already been struck with the brokerage. The information flow broke down at the highest level. The report flagged significant issues with practices, serious concerns about organizational culture, inconsistent processes, failures in escalation, lack of transparency with its own board. That's really the trifecta of why we rely on an organization like this: culture, process, and governance. With all three failing, regulators lose legitimacy. And then what happens? The government steps in. Minister Stephen Crawford sent a formal letter to
Regulators lose legitimacy, guys. If the people who are supposed to be putting up the guardrails and fences of your industry have lost their credibility, then we're in a kangaroo market. It's worse than a free market because in free markets at least there's some level of guidelines somewhere. If you enter a fraudulent market, which generally happens, it's funny because I'm watching all the fraud come out in real estate stuff. Fraud usually occurs, like you'll see the most fraudulent actors come out of the woodworks. Two different scenarios. First scenario, things are going really, really good. Everyone's got more than enough surplus money, resources. Fraudsters can just skim a little off the top of people here and there. It looks like Rico is doing that with all of these houses and Jesus Christ, down payments people have. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Lives were ruined here, guys. Lives were literally ruined here. And Jesus Christ. So fraudsters will come out, they'll start doing bad stuff during times of plenty. The other side of it is fraudsters will come out of the woodworks during dire straits, dire times, when people are really hard up. And if you are someone in Canada who's looking for employment right now, please ignore those texts to your cell phone about jobs. They're all frauds. Scammers are literally preying on the emotional right now. So try and avoid that stuff. But the bottom line here is that the Ontario government had to take away the regulatory powers from the Real Estate Council of Ontario, which is not government. They're just real estate people. Real estate people regulating real estate people, guys. Do you see how that might be a problem? And even after finding out $8 million disappeared from iPro Realty, the real estate regulators, RECO, the people who are supposed to have the best interests of Canadians and Ontarians in mind, they did nothing for 3 months. So the government looked at that and going, what the fuck are you guys doing? These people lost $8 million. Why didn't you shut them down? And Rico's there going, oh, well, we can't do anything that big. And if we did something like that, it might scare. The government's like, hell no, give me the goddamn steering wheel. You're done. So we're starting to see the government take some very drastic measures in the real estate space because of how fraudulent the space has become. Now, guys, this is not the end. We still don't know about trillions of dollars in mortgages and how many of those should be in the hands of people who can't afford them. That's going to be probably next year's real estate issue. But the bottom line is when you're in a marketplace like this, one thing that shatters and is very, very hard to put back together like glass is buyer sentiment. Buyers do not like to enter marketplaces that are filled with fraudulent actors or just fraudulent activity in general. So, what you have now is a situation in Canada where our biggest real estate market, Ontario, like we have the Real Estate Board of Ontario, one of the biggest in the world, guys. Like it's that serious of a market in Canada where everything hinges on real estate. So if we have some of the biggest in the world, yet it's being preyed on by fraudulent actors, the government's like, if we lose this, it's over. No one's ever going to buy homes in Canada again or Ontario again. So we need to pay attention because this is it's more than just technically losing $8 million. It's subjectively losing the sentiment of Canadians wanting to purchase homes in Ontario. And it's going to affect a lot of lives, guys. Let's get into it.
RECO's CEO and their board chair. He basically said, we don't believe you can restore public confidence. We're stepping in. An administrator is taking over on December 1st. And that administrator is Jean Lapine, a senior executive with a background in communications, government relations, investor relations, and sustainability. So I would say relatively qualified to fix the problem here. And the government is so confident that they actually had to invoke a rarely used emergency power, according to this article, to install the administrator to take control of the Real Estate Council of Ontario. And here's the big part. The administrator will assume all powers of the board, the officers, and the members of RECO. This is a very direct taking over of control. It's like the regulatory equivalent of putting a company into receivership, but in the public sector. So, how does the industry feel about this? OREA, the Ontario Real Estate Association, immediately applauded the move. They said it will help RECO get back to the basics of consumer protection and promised it will restore trust.
Back to the basics, guys. We can't even get consumer protections and trust for people in the real estate market right now.
RECO has not yet responded to the takeover itself, but earlier this month, they said they are fully committed to implementing every single Denton's recommendation on an expedited timeline. What's clear is that the government doesn't believe RECO can fix itself from the inside. Why does this all matter? This is going to go down as one of the catastrophic failure points of this counter-cyclical event that happened in Canadian real estate. This is bigger than one brokerage failing, bigger than one single registrar making mistakes, bigger than one audit. It strikes at the heart of an entire regulatory model and a broken system. Consumers don't have faith in the real estate profession. I know the industry doesn't want to hear that, but that's really what it is. I think that we are regarded as bad, if not worse, than used car salesmen or all of the other careers that are looked down upon. And
I'm
honestly,
gonna tell you right now. I used to sell cars. People fucking hate you because you're just trying to sell them a car. They think you're a liar. They think you're dishonest, and it's so funny because I took that sentiment like of people just thinking I'm a liar, or trying to get one over them, and it just stuck. It sticks with you throughout your entire career. So I get into the world of AI. It's the same thing. People who don't understand the technology that look at you, it's like, oh, this guy's lying. How can he charge me for that? You should do it for free. Da, 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 da. I'm like, oh my god. But the bottom line is, real estate agents, man, I know people who work in real estate, and I feel bad for them because everyone chooses their path in life. You got to eventually fall on something, settle on something. I settled on technology. Lo and behold, now it's going to be AI forever. Hopefully, I can maybe get enough followers. I can just be a YouTube bro. But AI, I really like because it's quiet work. You do it by yourself. It's really results driven. If you get results, you get paid. Great. In real estate, it's a really subjective and qualitative environment where value is determined by people. And so this determination of value, up or down, is based on sentiment, feelings, emotions. And I just feel bad for people who devoted everything to real estate because the sentiment of real estate in Canada is completely shattered. I have no intention of ever purchasing a home here unless prices fall to a point where it's like, Alex, you'd be stupid not to buy one now. Like maybe $100,000, $150,000 condo, buy it in cash. But the average person who's just like, maybe I want to get a down payment mortgage and pay with my salary, like that type of person is going to the wayside. You don't have people getting into jobs, especially young people who can't get jobs, going and trying to put down payment on houses anymore. You just don't. The only people who are doing business in the real estate market right now are boomers, some Gen Xers who have the means to volley the houses back and forth to one another. But even boomers need to retire. They need to cash out. Who are they going to cash out with, guys? Younger people who don't believe in the marketplace anymore. So I really do feel for Daniel. He's doing the right thing by telling you guys what it is. Like I feel like I'm doing the right thing when I say, "Hey, AI is coming for us, guys. You got to prepare, get some more skills." And people are like, fuck you, Alex." But at least I know I've said what I needed to say. Daniel's sort of doing the same here.
Honestly, when you see stuff like this, it's not hard to understand why they feel that way. And it very much turns out that they were right. Like, do we know that trust accounts can be protected? Can brokerages be properly supervised? Can agents be trusted to actually uphold the fiduciary duty that they have to represent their client's best interests? Can consumers rely on the system? Can agents rely on the regulator? And who's watching the watchdog? When $8 million can go missing for months before action is taken, confidence breaks, and rightly so. And in real estate, confidence is everything. We hear about consumer confidence all the time. People hear something like this stacked on top of year-over-year price declines that I've covered for months on my channel, years. But so they don't have confidence in the market. They also don't have confidence in the industry, confidence in deposits, in transactions, in trust funds, in the profession itself. This is why the government acted. This is why agents are protesting. This is why consumers are angry. We've already seen Doug Ford completely overhaul the landlord and tenant system with Bill 60 just a couple of days ago. Now they're stepping in to take further control of the industry. Why? Because the industry is getting absolutely crushed right now, and they're trying to fix that problem. Is it a good idea? I don't know. Time will tell, but it's happening. So what happens next? Here's the short version. December 1st, the administrator is going to take control of RECO's board and the board is effectively dissolved in practice. After
Wow.
that, every process, policy, and decision-making structure is under review, so expect wide-ranging reform. Number 3, trust accounting protocols will be likely tightened.
Overhauled.
We'll see more audits. We'll see quicker interventions. We'll see more transparency. Brokerages could face higher compliance expectations, especially around
Wow.
segregation and reconciliation of funds. Realtors may see new education or training requirements, particularly relating to ethics and trust handling.
Holy
The
shit.
regulator itself may get completely restructured. We saw this happen in other industries, in the mortgage industry with FISRA, and a new governance model is possible. This is the kind of intervention governments only make once every 20 or 30 years. It's
Damn.
honestly huge. And to me, this is the moment, like when I always think about like growing up and my parents talking about the 90s and what happened during the real estate industry. And like there were lines that were drawn, when certain things happened. Back then, a lot of it was the banking system and all of the trust codes disappearing. This is a comparably large milestone in this counter cycle that we're seeing in Canadian real estate right now. It's really a turning point. Real estate is Canada's largest asset class and the single biggest financial transaction most families ever make. If the public loses faith in the system that protects those transactions, everything becomes fragile. It
Mm-mm.
is a takeover. It's going to be messy. It's political. It's uncomfortable, but it's probably necessary. And for everyone watching, realtors, brokers, buyers, sellers, tenants, investors, this story is just getting started, because trust and confidence in an industry, once shaken, is going to take a very, very long time to rebuild. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks a lot for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you again as soon as I can.
Daniel, brother, you do some good work for Canadians, my guy. Let's get some screenshots for you so we can get you in the thumbnail. So, oh my God, man, I'm just so I'm just so taken aback by how bad it needs to get before people start to say, you know what, maybe our real estate industry isn't as rosy as we thought it was. Like Daniel does some really good research, guys, and I always get people in the comments saying, "Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about." I got some people telling me I'm not Canadian. I was born in or Toronto General 37 years ago, guys. They still probably have copies of my birth record, so go look it up. But as a Canadian, you don't think you're going to be talking about this stuff on YouTube, but you are. Like we're watching the end of an era. We are watching the end of the greatest real estate era the world has ever seen. And as a technologist, I can only hope and pray that Canadians choose another path because technology is very resilient. It's fast moving. It's liquid. It's a very strong environment for growth, for income, for jobs. We just don't have something like that in Canada because we opted to invest everything into real estate. Alex, what are you gonna do, man? I'm going to continue to cover real estate, mortgages. It really brings, it tugs on the heartstrings a little bit because you just start to think about all the families that are going to be affected by this stuff, and some of them aren't going to have homes to live in, guys. Oh my God, maybe I'll stop this video here. If you like this type of content, damn. If you like this type of content, you like the conversation, you like the story we're bringing to you in Canada about the economy, real estate, AI, stuff like that, hit like and subscribe. If you don't like this stuff, guys, if it makes you feel bad, sad, you don't like me, you don't like my face, you don't like how I sound, just hit this like, leave a colorful comment. Make sure you guys follow Daniel's channel. He's a beast with this stuff, guys. He knows, I'm gonna tell you right now, compared to the other real estate people I watch, he knows quite a bit about this stuff. He's also into AI. He has his own platform for people in the market that leverages AI play. My guy, you're on the team. Oh, it really when he says like something like this doesn't happen every 20, 30 years, you start to think to yourself like, well, in the last 20, 30 years, that's me becoming an adult. So really didn't even have a chance just to throw my 2 cents in. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I certainly am not planning to buy any real estate in Canada for foreseeable future. And I don't know other people in the position to buy if they're thinking the same thing, or there's just no incentive to be a part of this marketplace. It's just there's people are believing less and less in this dream, and I don't want to. I don't think anyone wants to park money in a place where less and less people are going to think is a profitable or even a safe place to buy a house to live. So if it does take you back a little bit to see how bad it gets, but I think it's going to get worse, guys. I think more and more of these stories are going to come to light, and we're really going to get that rude awakening we've all been waiting for in the real estate market, the capitulation event with pricing. It's coming, 2026, baby. Watch out. Anyways, looking forward to the next one. Bye now.